And welcome to Prime Business with me, Pius Kojo Baka. So our very first story, fears of policy change by a new government from 2025 are pushing a lot of businesses to freeze projects and capital inflows. That's according to senior country partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Visha Shangbo. Now, this is coming at a time that Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has also mentioned that election-related issues are now impacting the city. Here is Mr. Ashangbo speak to my colleague, George Yafe.
I think that the concerns around the elections are to be expected, not just because of what has happened here in Ghana, but if you look around our continent, you'll find that there's always been pockets of challenge in terms of elections. That's not to suggest that, and I don't think that any of the companies that we have engaged are particularly concerned about social disruption or such like around the elections, because like you said, here in Ghana we have been able to manage these elections, you know, for different cycles. But again, investors are concerned about policy direction or potential changes in policy, because again, investment is a long-term thing. And where you have a potential shift in direction, no matter who emerges successful in the election, then people are concerned, and therefore they'll adopt a wait-and-see approach. It should be lessened this cycle because we're in an IMF program, and whoever emerges successfully in this election, I don't think will have too much ability to change things, although you may have heard one or two people speak about potential.
There have been comments about potentially renegotiating the IMF deal, and from the opposition former president saying that, granted an interview to Reuters actually.
Absolutely. So again, those are some of the things that may create some uncertainty and filter into a little bit of let's wait and see how things emerge. You know, because it has implications for the environment, for the economy. And again, if you're a long-term investor, that will be of concern to you.
In a sharp response, economist Professor Peter Quartey downplayed any significant impact on capital inflows in the event of policy change by a new government in 2025. He, however, stated that although the sentiments being expressed are expected, businesses need not to panic.
But I don't think it is very widespread and very significant or major, because if you look at our history, we have been a very stable democracy, one of the most stable in Africa. And there could be one or two policy reversals, but there have not been major ones. I believe every government or every administration that comes into government knows that government is a continuity. And therefore, if there's going to be any change, it's not just a drastic one. It has to be negotiated. It has to be agreed upon. So for me, I would urge businesses to not to panic, not to worry, because whoever wins the elections, we have a stable system, we have structures, and therefore some of these so-called political statements might not really materialize. Sometimes we've heard some of these statements in the past, and they've never been able to push them through. They've not been materialized. So let's not throw panic out there. Let's not worry. There could be one or two discussions and negotiations, but I don't think we're in a dictatorship where somebody can just get up and implement a policy without engaging the stakeholders concerned. Well, certainly, the managers of the country would have to do more education. They have to come to the table. I believe in previous elections, there even been an MOU between the candidates where they have signed an agreement to ensure that there's a peaceful transition and many other things. Some of the things you cannot really negotiate, you cannot change. And therefore, we need to be more open and transparent with our electorates and rather campaign on issues rather than throwing in panic here and there. But I'm sure we'll go through this like we've done in previous elections. So let's continue the education. Let's continue to Ghanaians themselves should also behave in a way to avoid electoral violence, to avoid anything that will not inure to the benefit of the country. We need stability. But that's the only country we have.
And to some other stories, some oil marketing companies have started reducing prices of petroleum products in line with expected adjustments at the pumps. George Yafe has the rest of the story.
Star Oil has taken the lead, selling a litre of petrol at 13 Ghana cedis, 65 pesos, from its old price of 13 Ghana cedis, 93 pesos. This represents 28 pesos drop in value, while in percentage terms, it has gone down by more than 2%. Diesel has also gone down by more than 3% and is selling at 14 Ghana cedis, 2 pesos. This means that consumers who will be turning to Star Oil will be paying 46 pesos less. Prices should have been adjusted from yesterday. However, checks by Joy Business showed that only a few have reviewed their prices as of this afternoon. Many will be watching to see the expected margin of reduction by the other major oil marketing firms and how that would influence the more than 100 oil marketing companies out there.
Reacting to the price adjustments, research and policy analyst at the Institute of Energy Security, Derek Hatcher, expressed doubts about the sustenance of these reductions in wake of the exchange rate volatilities and development on the world market.
Basically, you need to question it because for whatever thing that is causing or accounting for these price reductions or increments, nothing that the government of Ghana has control over. The government of Ghana is not doing anything to take control over what he has control over, especially regarding the exchange rate. For the past year, the cedi continues to depreciate, and so that is what we expect the government to be able to take hold of, but will not be able to deliver on that mandate. Regarding international prices, we do not have control over it, but on the international market, whatever thing that happens there is what reflects at the various pumps. But for example, in this current pricing window, on the international market, diesel went down by almost 5% points. And so the cedi also depreciated by about 1%. Assuming the cedi had appreciated, wouldn't have felt that kind of decrease. The decrease would have been more than what we are even experiencing now. Would have been maybe experiencing about 6% reduction or 7% reduction. And so even on the international market, the prices continues to fall. What we have control over, which is the cedi or the stability of the currency, we are not doing much about it. And so going forward, whatever thing that happens on that international market, which we do not have control over, basically we cannot predict, and then that is not sustainable going forward. For the second pricing window, it's quite early to be able to predict because on the international market, the force of demand and supply can affect prices at any particular point in time. And so for now, it's quite early to be able to talk about the second pricing window.
Away from the petroleum downstream sector, Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, Yao Frimpong Addo, says Ghana is set to benefit from agro-technology transfer from Brazil, aiming to enhance the value of the country's agricultural produce. He highlights that the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative will necessitate constructing numerous food processing facilities nationwide to boost Ghana's food processing capacity. Now, speaking at the launch of the Ghana-Brazil Chamber of Commerce in Accra, Mr. Frimpong Addo emphasized that Ghana stands to gain significantly from Brazil's extensive expertise in agro-processing. Carlos Caloni reports.
The launch of the Ghana-Brazil Chamber of Commerce brought together government officials, corporate executives, politicians from both countries, and potential investors from Colombia and Chile. The chamber aims to enhance trade and technology transfer between the two countries and foster close cultural collaboration. Speaking at the launch, the founding president of the GBCC, Edinam J. Sika, emphasized the importance of the chamber in improving Ghana's trade balance with Brazil.
We expect to give opportunities for businesses both in Brazil and Ghana to come together for networking and to be able to strike some business deals and investment. So what we'll be doing is that we'll be having a lot of educational webinars, opportunities for Brazilians to know what it takes to do business in Ghana, how to register a company, for example, what to look out for, and we'll also be talking to our Ghanaians on how to, for example, import from Brazil, the things to look out for. We also intend to focus on the cultural aspects, like everyone said. And Brazil and Ghana are so close. And so even when you take our food, for example, everything that we eat, they do, but in a different way. So we're going to try to bring the two cultures together through a lot of amazing cultural events. And also, if you look at the trade balance, currently we still do a lot of exportation in the area of our oil and petroleum crude to Brazil. And the trade balance looks good, but it can be better. We are looking at institutional relations.
Deputy Minister of Agriculture Yaw Frimpong Addo, who launched the chamber, praised the initiative, stating that Ghana will benefit from Brazil's agro-processing expertise as the country seeks to expand its food processing capacity.
We are hoping that a lot more processing facilities will be put across the country so we can process whatever produce we are going to have, especially the surpluses. We can take advantage of this chamber that has been launched officially today. And to add to that, we are also looking at livestock. We need a lot of technology transfer, and Brazil is very good at that. They produce our cocoa too, but we have better cocoa than them. So that is where our expertise will also be needed in this series. So through this chamber, I know there's going to be a lot of exchange of ideas. It is up to us to up our game, especially agri-production and processing, adding value to what we do.
On her part, charged the affairs of the Embassy of Brazil in Ghana, Ms. Luisa Horta Barbosa believes both countries stand to gain a lot from the initiative.
Well, I think our countries have much to gain from each other, because Brazil is renowned for our agricultural prowess, our technology, advanced technology, cutting edge in the field of agriculture especially, and Ghana is a dynamic and growing market. So I think we are natural complements in that area. So I think we can both benefit from this as we intensify our trade and also help increase productivity in Ghana, and especially in critical areas such as food production and food safety.
Deputy Trade Minister Michael Ochrebefi used the occasion to appeal to Brazilian businesses, urging them to leverage Ghana's strategic location and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Initiative to invest in the country. For Joy News, Carlos Caloni, Accra.
We've got more agri stories for you. Program Officer of Accra Accelerator Program, Faustina Obeng Adoma, has called on the private sector to expand investment in the agricultural sector. She said the private sector must pay attention to climate-resilient programs to ensure productivity within the agricultural sector. She spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the Accra Accelerator Program here in Accra. Here's a report.
The accelerating impact of CGIAR Climate Research for Africa, ICRA, is targeted at the private sector. The group believes the private sector will provide end-to-end solutions to address challenges related to scaling products and services that enhance sustainable production and soil health. ICRA says this can be attained by providing access to agro-advisories, sustainable mechanization technologies, and nutrient management. Faustina Obeng Adoma is Programs Officer of ICRA.
So what we are doing today is to develop what we call a bundled solution. So the solution includes the weather information, it includes the agro-advisory that the farmer needs to adapt based on how the weather is going to be. And if it's going to be a short season, for instance, it also includes the seed variety that is suitable for the season. It also includes the good agronomic practices that the farmer needs to adopt. It includes the ways that the farmer can manage pests and diseases in an integrated manner that is also climate smart. It includes how to manage soil fertility in a climate smart way. So we have put together some of these innovations into 4 bundles. One is focusing mainly on the seeds and the agro-advisories. The other one is focusing on solar irrigation. That is very key for women who are producing vegetables. Another one is focusing on climate smart integrated pest and diseases management. And another bundle is also focusing on soil health through smart production. So right from how you till your land through mechanization. and then the promotion of small tools such that we don't disturb the soil too much.
A farmer from Agri-Mecab, Emmanuel Aqua, urged collaboration with farmers to address the challenges.
Our presence here is to contribute to climate-smart solutions for soil and productivity. And how we do this is by the produce we get from the larvae that provides us with the fertilizer. We are able to enhance soil performance, help the soil recover from degradation from the use of inorganic fertilizers, and also help adjust soil pH. With this program, we actually want to collaborate with other farmers to see how best we can serve the Ghanaian farmer.
The adoption of genetically modified foods in Ghana is still a topic of intense discussion among the country's agricultural and scientific communities. The country released its first GM product for commercialization, a cowpea variety resistant to the pod-boring insect Maruca vetra. In this week's episode of The Food Chain, Emmanuel Bright Kweku speaks with the lead scientist of the project and some stakeholders who are pushing back on what they describe as hasty adoption.
A few days ago, the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research released Ghana's first genetically modified product, a cowpea variety for commercialization. Known as the pod borer resistant cowpea, this particular crop is said to resist the effect of a pest known as the Maruca vetra. While the adoption of genetically modified products in Ghana's agricultural space has been a contentious subject, particularly on the safety of these products. But really, does the country need GMOs? I've been interacting with the principal investigator of this cowpea project, Dr. Jerry Mbonyin, and also Yusuf Suleimana, who is the Director of Research for the Center for Climate Change and Food Security. He is actually not in support of introducing GMOs in our agricultural space now.
Thanks to modern biotechnology, where you can use genetic engineering to develop varieties that are resistant to a particular crop. And all what we have done is that if you look at farmers who grow their crops organically, there is an insecticide that they spray in organic farming known as the BT insecticide. So we basically used the gene from that BT to actually insert it into the cowpea so that the cowpea is able to protect itself.
But this scientific discovery has met fierce opposition from some farmer groups, including the Peasant Farmers Association and other members of the scientific community. Concerns over the safety of the cowpea on both the environment and human have come up as the product is reported to produce a protein known as CRY1AB that resists the effect of the bean pod borer.
The National Biosafety Authority will not give you approval if it is toxic to humans and if it is toxic to any organism in the environment. You have to check the effect, the non-target effect. So not just on soil organisms, but even on pollinators and on natural enemies such as predators. And the results were very, very categorical and clear that CRY proteins are not toxic to weather predators such as ladybird beetles or parasitoids. Only thing it does is to control the legume pod borer, that is the Maruca. Apart from that insect, it has no harmful effect on any other organism.
Director of Research at the Center for Climate Change and Food Security in Ghana, Suleimana Yusuf, disagrees.
I've assessed their data. There is no data on the effects of the cowpea on soil microbiome. There's no data. Why are they lying? If I may put it, excuse my language. I've assessed the data they put to the NBA. If they have data on the effect of the crops on soil microbiome, they should make it available to me and to the Center for Climate Change and Food Security, and let us assess it to see if indeed what they're saying is the truth. Right? Because one of the reasons why GMs are being pushed away from some of these advanced countries, for example, as I mentioned in Europe, is because of the fear, and some of it have been verified scientifically, the fear that these organisms have the potential to dilute other organisms, and in the course of time, you are likely to lose your native species, which are adapted to the vagaries of the climate, climatic conditions where you live.
While this debate continues, the Ghanaian farmer is anxious for a better farming practice or technology that can boost productivity. ensure the country's food security, while he also rakes in some profit from his source of livelihood. My name is Emmanuel. Right quick.
Catch the full conversation on the Joy News channel tomorrow at 6 p.m. and, of course, a repeat on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Do make a date. Now, the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has formalized its partnership with private farming enterprises to facilitate the projection of indigenous agricultural technologies for farmers' adoption. Under its innovative research and extension advisory coordination hub, the collaboration will showcase agricultural technologies in the West African sub-region to increase crop value chain adoption and, of course, enhance food security. There is more in this report.
Ghana's agricultural sector, despite being the backbone of the economy, is fraught with numerous challenges spanning accessibility to modernized farming practices and financial assistance. These challenges impact the productivity of the local sector to keep up with the market demand. To bridge the gap between technology development and utilization, the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is collaborating with private farming enterprises for easy access and affordability. Dubbed the CSIR-CRI iReach Consortium, the agreement is to ensure enhanced food security, job creation, youth development, and improved livelihoods. Dr. Paul Bosu is the Director General of the CSIR.
What we want to do is that we want to assist them with the technologies that CSIR we have developed over the years, so that if we have high-yielding varieties, if we have climate-resistant varieties, pest-resistant varieties, they will be able to adopt these. And obviously, if you have a superior variety, then it means that all things being equal, you're going to have higher yield and higher income, and of course it's also going to mean that we have more food on the market.
The project, which started in 2022, affords farmers, agri-scientists and interested entities the opportunity to adopt technologies relevant to their fields of crop and food production. Dr. Caroline Makamto-Sogbi is the technical manager at Koraf iReach.
I think that one of the main challenges in Western Central Africa is that most of our farmers are still using old technology that are not really well performing. Why actually at the level of research institution, there's a lot of technology that have been developed by the research. This consortium is actually paving the way so that in the future, it will be easy for technology developed at the level of research to get to the farmers.
Project coordinator Professor Emmanuel Otu explains the need to protect indigenous food systems for food security.
Prices has hiked, and then there is disruption in the supply of the food. Can we survive with our families for a week, a month, a year? That means that we must pay much more attention to our food systems than we've been doing.
The consortium comprises 8 organizations, with the CSIR Crops Research Institute as the lead institution and 7 large-scale farm enterprises within Ashanti, Bono and Bono East regions. Some partners shared the potential gains from participating in the project.
Brena way sono I timi ko banko jilo ni na sofo no ye be jai
mo de be boy bebre se ye kan ye ho bomu dia e che sa ho den no so aye kese ba ko fo sei se ne ye kan ye ko pe bosen a unya bi nanso ya kan ye ho bomu ye group no de o ma hu se ye hwehwe be bia e benya ye nkankan se crop research e ho bomu no de o ma hu se sources no ye good.
Finally, as part of efforts to promote environmental sustainability, Access Bank Ghana PLC has launched the Waste is Useful project. The project is aimed at training over 150,000 school children in over 300 basic schools across the country in sustainable practices. Group Head of Retail Banking at Access Bank Ghana, Matilda Santi-Siedu, explained that the project will have enormous socio-economic benefits. She spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the project at Roka International School.
Environmental sustainability is a pressing global concern that demands immediate attention, especially among corporates. Access Bank has championed several green projects over the years. One of such is the Waste is Useful initiative, which aims to promote a cleaner environment by teaching children about sustainable practices like waste segregation. Matilda Santiesiedu is the group head of retail banking at Access Bank, and she spoke at the launch of the second phase of the Waste is Useful project held at Roka International School.
We are a bank driven by sustainability, and part of our goals is to continue to drive sustainable living. And so we introduce what we call Waste is Useful internally, where we segregate our waste to make sure that there's opportunity to reuse and reuse and recycle. And so today we've come here because we're taking this initiative nationwide. We're working with 300 schools, looking to reach a minimum of 100,000 school children.
She emphasized the socio-economic impact of sustainable environmental policies. Ken Arthur, Director of Programs for GOG Aid Foundation, emphasized the need for education on keeping our environment clean.
Education is not enough. What we need to do is to put action to what we say. Because if you walk through the community, you realize that there's waste all over. So what we are trying to do is to educate the children and put them to action, which is why we try to monetize what they do.
NAMACO, one of the project's partners, donated an undisclosed amount to Roka International School for the collection of recycled waste over a 2-week period. The Waste is Useful project is powered by Access Bank Ghana in partnership with Environmental Protection Agency, GOG Foundation, and NAMACO.
Thanks so much for watching Prime Business. I truly appreciate your time with me. Pius Kojo Baka. Prime Sports is next.